Now, D.C. Democrats are providing another magnet for illegal immigration. D.C.'s law makes zero exceptions for such individuals whose role may be to disrupt or destroy the American way of life in the principles that our nation stands upon.
Did they go to the D.C. Council when it was debated? No, they didn't do that. Did they invite the mayor of the D.C. Council to come here? No, they didn't do that. They just decided they're going to slap around the local population. None of us would accept it for the localities that we represent. The day after this great statement of national purpose and progress, they want us to become the super council for the District of Columbia and begin to micromanage the bills that are being passed by the representatives locally of 713,000 people. I rise in strong opposition to House Joint Resolution 24, which seeks to nullify the duly enacted laws of the District of Columbia and violates the principle of local democratic self-government, which is at the heart of the Home Rule Charter for Washington, D.C., and also violates the equal protection and democratic principles that animate our Constitution. With no national agenda, with no plans for getting on board with American progress, what do they have? Well, they're going to bring us a whole series of these disapproval resolutions for the people of Washington, D.C. They don't want to vote in Washington, D.C. They don't want to live in D.C. They can move to D.C. and run for D.C. Council if that's their interest. But no, they just want to lord it over the people of Washington. So they don't like the District of Columbia's voting rules, and they don't like the criminal justice reform they just engaged in for a period of a decade with judges and lawyers and the D.C. bar and the people participating. They don't have a hearing on any of it. They just want to decree that they're going to strike it down. And just you wait. They'll be coming back with our gun safety laws that will appear in Congress from the people in D.C. because there's that part of the Home Rule Charter that gives us this opportunity if we want to micromanage their policy. So we'll see gun safety laws, we'll see abortion legislation, we'll see equal rights for the LGBTQ population. All of these things the Republican minority used to do a long time ago, but they've brought back the worst possible instincts. They don't want to have a hearing on it. We didn't have a single hearing in the Oversight Committee about any of this legislation, none of it. Now, it so happens that people in Washington, D.C. are not just a locality, a municipality. The people in Washington are involved right now in a petition for statehood admission to the Union. In fact, in the 116th Congress, in the 117th Congress, this body voted to approve their petition for statehood, but our friends across the aisle opposed that. If it passed the House, if the Senate had approved it, well then the people of D.C. or whatever their local system is would be just able to decide these things on their own, just like the people in New York City or Albany or any other town in New York would be able to decide for themselves. I thought that our friends over there were interested in local self-government. I thought they supported home rule, but apparently not when it comes to the people of Washington, D.C. So we reject this throwback attempt at micromanaging the affairs of the people of Washington. They don't need lectures about voting rights. They need voting rights. They're the only population of tax-paying, draftable American citizens in the country who don't have equal voting rights in Congress. And when January 6th came and people stormed this chamber and waged violence against the Capitol Police, against the Metropolitan Police Department, against hundreds of people who live in Washington, as well as in Maryland and Virginia, the people of Washington stood with democracy. They stood with Congress. And they have a legitimate grievance, not a phony counterfeit grievance. They're not claiming to have won an election they didn't win. All they're asking for is equal rights. Let's grant them their statehood. And if you can't stomach the idea that they would be a state, at least allow them their home rule rights to decide for themselves who's going to vote in Washington, D.C., and what their criminal laws are going to be, and what their laws of abortion are going to be, and what their civil rights and civil liberties practices are going to be in the District of Columbia. I will reserve, and I'm happy to turn it over.